Hello and welcome to your April astrological forecast. I'm Laurel and I will be going through all the astro transits for the month. And I'm so excited to be talking about the April forecast because I feel like the April forecast has been something that's been on my mind for quite some time as I've been really focusing on the April transits, because I really feel like this is when we're going to feel a big shift in the energy for the whole year. So April's jam-packed. There are so many transits that are happening, so let's dive right into them. As you may have noticed, I am presenting this video a little differently. I'm thinking about maybe one day creating a podcast, not sure yet, but I think that this will work better just by you hearing my voice. And I'm also going to pop in the video, all of the transits that are happening, so that you can have a visual of what that might look like in the chart. And this will hopefully help you track your transits a little bit better. I know for me, I'm a visual person, so I like to see what's actually happening. So when I read off all these transits of the year, hopefully you can keep better track by actually seeing what that might look like. So if you want, I invite you to pull up your own chart so that you can see where this might be happening for you to follow along. Otherwise, you can just look at the chart that I'm putting up. The charts that I'm using are the current transits for April. So they'll be changing periodically and I'll be highlighting the ones to pay attention to. Okay, let's get into it. I am so excited for April. I can't even express how excited I am for it. There's just like so much happening. It's actually wild, the amount of transits that are happening, and we have some major highlights happening. So the ones to look out for, we have the new moon in Aries. We have Venus entering Pisces. We have the big Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that I'm sure you've heard me talk about before, because I have been awaiting this transit for so long. And it's such a good one because it's like a once in a lifetime transit that we'll experience. We will never in our lifetime experience this Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces again. So super exciting. Mars is also entering Pisces this month. There's a full moon in Libra. We're entering Taurus season in the middle half of April. We are ending our free retrograde period as Pluto retrogrades. And then we have Mercury entering Gemini, and we have a solar eclipse at the end of the month with a new moon in Taurus. I mean, if that doesn't tell you that this month is jam-packed, I don't know what does. We also have a Pisces stellium. We have Jupiter, Neptune, Venus, and Mars in Pisces. And then in the latter half of the month, we'll have a Taurus stellium. We'll have Mercury, the North Node, Uranus, and the Sun. So we have a lot of energy this month. So we kick off the month with a new moon in Aries. So this new moon in Aries, it's the start of a new astrological new year, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So this really kicks off a new year. And I always like to think of the astrological new year as our true new year, because January never really feels like a fresh start to me. And when we enter Aries, we have a spring, we have this enhancing new beginnings, and new moons also are associated with new beginnings and a fresh start. So when you have both Aries and the new moon coming together, it's really a time to take action, close a chapter, open a new door, and start fresh. So the new moon in Aries, the moon is going to line up with Mercury, and this is encouraging a strong mindset with some minor obstacles in our path. And this is generally a good time to take risks and lead with confidence. Aries is all about confidence, so diving into that inner confidence that you have and becoming the leader of your own life. Saturn and Mars form a conjunction, so this can cause some fear in believing in ourselves. So there's that fear of failure coming in and fear around past failure. So seeing if we can move past that, and knowing that failures are, of course, a part of our life and that they in no way reflect our future. So keeping that in mind and really digging deep into that confidence that we know lies within each of us. This phase of the moon occurs in 11 degrees, and it is affecting people born with personal planets and points at approximately 8 to 16 degrees of cardinal signs. So those signs would be Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. You will energetically feel this energy the most. So keep an eye on that. Remembering that new moons, I love a new moon because yes, it could be the closing of a chapter, but this is really where we can kind of start anew and begin again. At the beginning of the month, we start off with the Sun conjunct Mercury. and Mars conjunct Saturn. So this is high levels of physical energy, but there's also high levels of irritability, and frustration can be kind of on the rise. So this is important to find ways to release excessive energy constructively. So what that means is maybe through creative expression or physical activity. So not letting that energy kind of like be stuck, because it can feel stuck during this time. So really trying to release it in some way, but making sure that it doesn't release in a fiery way, in that like outburst of anger. It's a good time to really focus on your energy on a project that keeps you focused. So cleaning, getting organized, maybe just like spending some time alone where you can actually like dive into something, maybe build some IKEA furniture alone, just something that's going to really take up all of your energy and make sure that it's not being displaced in a negative way. After that not so nice energy at the beginning of the month, we have April 5th, Venus is entering Pisces at 11:17 a.m. and this is an Eastern Standard Time. So Venus is exalted here, so meaning this is an extra auspicious time for love and romance. There's tender, gentle, kind-hearted, and a sensitivity in the air. This is feelings of love and romance. There's empathy for others, compassion for others, and this is super dreamy, imaginative, creative, and artistic. Venus loves to be in Pisces. It is going to feel really, really lovely. So as much as maybe March hasn't been the nicest, April, we get that little dreamy aspect, which is going to be really nice. And then on April 8th, following shortly after, we have the Jupiter conjunct Neptune beginning. So this isn't exact. It's not hitting like that like exact point yet, but it's kind of like gearing up for April 12th, where it's going to hit exactly at 23 degrees, and it's going to be at 9:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's on April 12th. So the last time that this conjunction occurred in the sign of Pisces was 1856. So we are never going to experience this transit again. And it is one that I've been particularly excited for. I know that there's been some astrologers speaking about this transit, and of course there is a negative and positive aspect to any transit, but I'm going to kind of dive into both so that you can kind of get an idea of what that means for you. Also keeping in mind that anyone who's a Pisces rising or has a Pisces sun, Pisces moon will probably be affected quite a lot as well, but this is going to really impact you because it's happening in your sign. So, and Jupiter's expansion, Neptune's dreamy, and when it's in these two signs or in these two planets, we have them in their ruler. So Jupiter and Neptune are naturally ruled by Pisces. So it's a very powerful transit. So Venus is already in a happier placement at this time. And so this is a really good time for artists, going to feel so inspired, invigorated. It's a beautiful transit to be alive for, as there's a greater sense of compassion. So Jupiter is the planet of good luck, expansion, abundance. Both are at home here. This is a rediscovering and an acknowledgement of our dream. So it's good luck. It's beautiful. It's a time to dream a new dream and a chance to follow our hearts. Think magical, think magnetic. The only thing that we need to be aware of is escapism. So making sure that we're not trying to escape reality, making sure that we're not viewing the world through rose-colored glasses, and that we are allowing ourselves to really, really still be rooted in reality while we're also dreaming. This is a time to be careful of drugs and substance abuse, as this is a time where we want to escape reality, and those are often ways that we choose to escape it. Also being aware of overindulgence, as remembering that too much of anything is always generally not a good thing. So there's also mental health concerns could be on the rise. So if you're feeling low or you're feeling like you might need that professional help, seeking therapy could be very helpful at this time. And what I like about this energy is it's very, I know what I want, but I feel like I might not be able to get it. And what's important is to recognize that you can get it. So illusions go both ways. So Neptune likes to form those illusions. And sometimes we often think of illusions as something too good to be true, which of course this can also be present with this energy. But those ideas where your dreams aren't possible and you can't reach them, that's also an illusion. So really allowing yourself to tap into those dreams, believe anything is possible. This is going to kickstart a whole new energy for the year. So it's super, super exciting. Lean into it and expand those dreams. On April 12th, this is a day to dream big. So really seek spiritual transcendence and remember that this won't ever happen again. April 12th, I would say that especially if you have a lot of personal planets in Pisces, or you are a Pisces rising or a Pisces sun, I would recommend taking this day off to just chill, just be in your dreams, be in your dreamscape and get creative and enjoy this spiritual energy. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. Just come back to April 8th for a second. I want to talk about the transit. Mercury is going to sextile Mars at the same time that we're going to start to enter that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. And this is going to help with our inner confidence, so allowing you to believe in your ideas and your dreams. So this is exactly the energy we need. And so remembering to carry this with you as this transit gets a little bit closer to that exact moment. This energy will also help you take initiative, and it also helps you take advantage of new opportunities. On April 10th, Mercury enters Taurus at 10:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So think practical, stable, constructive. Communication is a lot more deliberate, as Taurus likes to take its time making a decision, but once that decision is made, it is set in stone and it's never moving. This can be stubborn and stuck in our own ways. So this is important to kind of try to adopt a more open mind. And because we can get stuck in our ways, sometimes we don't listen very well to other people. So keep those ears open and see if you can actively listen to the opinions and ideas of others. This is also very careful decision making, so it's going to be really important that you take your time making a decision about something. You're likely going to be able to stick to your routine, which is like kind of nice, but I feel like we need this energy, and it's going to be like a more down to earth, and you're going to connect to all those five senses. So like connecting with nature, getting outside. It's a good, I love Mercury and Taurus energy. On April 10th, we also have the Mercury square Pluto. So Mercury square Pluto can lead to deep thinking, intense interactions with other people. This can also have us obsessive thinking. So remembering that what I talked about back in March, that we can be drawn to conspiracies and extremism. So making sure that you're really digesting information that is true and that you're surrounding yourself with people that have your best intentions in mind and aren't trying to take advantage of you. So be aware of that. Be aware of defensive energy. There's also an urge to dig deep and investigate the truth of the matter. So around this time, we might see some untruths, like some truth uncovering here in the world. So maybe like things that have been hidden or kept from the collective start to open up. That could be interesting or scary, depending on how you're looking at it. And yeah, this is a positive transformation. So allow yourself to kind of lean into the positive side of this transit. And if you're going to obsessively think, see if you can put it in in a constructive way, like in research and study, something like that. On April 12th, that's when we're going to get that direct hit of the Jupiter and Neptune conjunction. And then on that same day, we have the Sun sextile Uranus. So there's patience, there's perseverance, and there's a strong work ethic. So this is an excellent transit to get things done. Not necessarily a good day for rest. So because we have that Jupiter Neptune conjunction where we're going to feel a little dreamy, maybe this is a good idea to kind of like focus your energy on something creative. So maybe it's not necessarily you're working, but you're focusing on things that make you feel good, and you have your energy, you have somewhere to kind of place that energy, if that makes sense. On April 14th, we have Mars entering Pisces at 11:05 p.m. And like anywhere that Pisces goes, when Mars enters Pisces, we're going to feel a little less motivated. So any of my Pisces risings, Pisces suns, you're like, oh, come on, give me a break. I just want to feel motivated again. It's been a rough start to the year for anyone with strong Pisces placements. But what I like about this transit is our energy is going to be geared more to spirituality and emotion. So we'll be more emotionally driven, which is kind of nice. We're probably going to be avoiding confrontation, kind of going inward a little bit. And the energy can fluctuate up and down. So we can have highs and lows, which can be challenging. So just keep that in mind, and remembering that nothing is permanent. Nothing will stay like this forever or last forever. So when we're in those down moments, trying to make sure that we don't get stuck there. This energy also, we might be putting others' needs before our own. And going after what we want can feel a little complicated, not at all straightforward, because we lack that motivation and we lack that kind of straightforward active energy. So go easy on yourself during that transit. On April 16th, we have the full moon in Libra at 2:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's coming in at 26 degrees. So Aries season has been all about the relationship we have with ourselves, and Libra is kind of leaning into the relationship we have with others. So use the energy of the moon to help you keep other people's needs in mind as well as your own. And this full moon is a great time to kind of create balance and stability in all areas of your life. Libra is the sign of relationships. It's the peacemaker. It's the diplomat, the lovable artist, and it is how we relate to others. So use this energy to learn about your own identity through your experience with others. So how do you create your identity through your relationships? Evaluate your limits and what you can give and what you can receive, making sure that you're not stretching yourself too thin, and developing an awareness around the boundaries that you have in place, and maybe implementing new boundaries that better support you as the individual. So a question to ask yourself is, what can you shift in your schedule, your routines, and your relationships to provide a more harmonious energy and lifestyle? So really important. And remember that I host full moon and new moon workshops every single month. We've got 3 this month because we have the new moon in Aries, we have the full moon in Libra, and then we have the new moon solar eclipse in Taurus. So if you want to know more on how this energy is affecting you personally, check those out. It's in the link in bio. It's only $19 for a workshop, and you get your own personal reading as well as a 75-minute workshop with yoga and meditation. It is something you do not want to miss. And we have such a great community of people, and you can connect with other people who have the same interest in astrology and the energy of the moon as you. Okay, moving on. So April 17th to April 18th, we have Mercury sextile Venus, we have Venus sextile Uranus, and we have this Sun square Pluto. So what does this mean? So this means this is a really good time to spend with your friends, enjoy yourself. It's kind of a lighthearted transit, and daily surroundings seem more pleasant. So we're able to see and focus on the good and maybe break out of our regular routine. There's a pleasant electricity in the air, and we are really enjoying ourselves. So this is also a really good time to let go of old patterns. There's room for positive creative changes. Authority figures may feel challenging at this time, so that's why it might be a really good time to seek a break from your regular routine and just have some fun, enjoy the simple pleasures of life. And there's also a sense of strength on the horizon. So maybe just like remembering that life is fun, remembering the reasons why you love to live, and leaning into that energy. On April 19th, the sun enters Taurus at 10:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As we enter Taurus season, this is a more grounded energy. It's down to earth. We're making practical, well thought out plans. And this is also moving slowly, thinking carefully, not rushing anything, indulging, really allowing our senses to be active. So it's a really good time to lean into practices that help to ground us, keeping your feet rooted in reality, and lean into what feels good, making self-care a priority this season. So really leaning into the present moment and getting sensual and stable, and indulge in yourself. Take care of you. It's your time to really get luxurious in your self-care. Okay, from the 24th to 28th, we have a lot happening in Mercury. So on April 24th, we have Mercury square Saturn. We have Mercury sextile Neptune. On the 26th, we have Mercury sextile Jupiter. 27th, we have Venus conjunct Neptune. And on the 28th, we have Mercury trine Pluto. So we start off with the Mercury square Saturn, and this favors hard mental work. So it's better to be done alone so that you can really focus on your project. And because communicating your plans and ideas might be difficult, this is why it's probably better to kind of like go inward, do your own thing, work on something that focuses all your energy, and really taking your time making important decisions. On April 24th, we also have Mercury sextile Neptune. So this transit is good for relaxation, creativity, and communication in spiritual pursuits. So because you have those two transits coming in the same day, you could find that there's a kind of a balance between the two and they kind of balance each other out. This is kind of creative and dreamy energy. So maybe you're focusing your mental work on creative and dreamy pursuits, and you could be more likely to focus on the larger picture instead of the little details. With the Mercury sextile Jupiter, this is also favoring thinking and planning of the future. So this is really good communication. This is concentration. So again, there's that flux of energy happening in April. So it could be that up and down of good concentration, good motivation to feeling a little low, feeling a little unmotivated. And so I think that Mercury sextile Jupiter would be a really good time to maybe like plan a trip, plan an adventure, because this is pretty favorable and it will likely turn out good. On April 27th, we have that Venus conjunct Neptune. So this transit brings a potential for new romance or more compassion, spiritual bonding in an existing relationship. Can you tell I'm a Pisces rising? I just got so excited by the potential for new romance. And I'm also a very single Pisces rising. So I'm all for this dreamy, romantic energy happening this month. Keeping in mind, though, that with the Venus conjunct Neptune, that again, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is, and not setting yourself up for disappointment. So again, those rose-colored glasses where we like to only see the good, make sure that you're not choosing to only see the good. That Venus Neptune placement can have us really wanting to only see the good, and maybe because we want that romantic dreamy love so badly, we are ignoring those little red flags. So making sure that you're not ignoring those, and leaning into the high levels of compassion and drawing the beauty that surrounds you, and knowing that with this juicy transit, sometimes relationships might not necessarily last long. So keeping your eyes wide open and making sure that you are not missing any important details when starting a new romance. And last but not least, we have Mercury trine Pluto. So this is ideal for asking favors and talking people into things. So if you just notice what I said, talking people into things. So making sure that you are not being talked into something that doesn't serve you. So again, surrounding yourself with people who have your best intentions in mind. Don't let people take advantage of your kindness and compassion. Compassion and empathy towards others, seeing the good in others, is going to be at an all-time high. So making sure that you aren't being talked into something that doesn't serve you long term. This is also deep introspection. There's an obsessive nature. So again, turn that mental obsession into research or study. Constructively use the energy. If you're into astrology, this is a really good energy to kind of like study astrology. So if you've ever been thinking about doing it, this transit is good for that. On April 29th, we have the Pluto Retrograde, and this is pulling us out of that sweet spot where we weren't experiencing any planets in retrograde. But have no fear, transformative Pluto has us going inward, and there's an energy for deep reflection, deep self-reflection. This is generally not super disruptive. It's not as strongly felt as some of the other retrogrades like Mercury. Mercury is actually entering its pre-retrograde shadow period at the end of the month. Womp womp. I know. So this is a good time to take time to focus, finish up any ideas, finish any projects, because we are entering a Mercury retrograde at the beginning of May. On April 29th, we also have Mercury entering Gemini at 6:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is especially communicative, curious, sociable. Mercury feels right at home in Gemini as it's one of the signs that it rules. So we tend to take more pleasure in gaining knowledge, digging into new subjects. The only thing that can be happening with Mercury in Gemini is we can feel a little scattered because we have many ideas forming and we're kind of jumping all over the place. It can be hard to focus. We can get easily distracted, and it can also bring more of like a nervous energy and cause a little bit of anxiety. So that's just something to be aware of. And then last but not least, we have the first eclipse, the first solar eclipse of the year. And this is the second eclipse of that Taurus Scorpio node kickoff, which I'm so excited about these eclipses. I love eclipses. So April 30th is happening at 4:28 p.m. at 10 degrees. So for those of you who have personal planets in 10 degrees in fixed signs, so that is Taurus, that is Scorpio, that is Leo, and that is Aquarius, this is going to affect you the most. So look to see if any of your planets are around 10 degrees. So this could be like 5 degrees, 15 degrees, anywhere in between those, that 5-degree mark. You should feel this pretty intensely. And it's a closing of a chapter. It's something coming to an end, which of course can feel challenging, but it's usually for the better because we're making way for something new, starting a new chapter. And remembering that the solar eclipse might not necessarily be felt immediately. So new moon energy typically lasts a month, whereas a solar eclipse energy effects can be felt for about 6 months after the actual date. So if you don't see anything happen right away, it could still be manifesting. It still could be happening. And the solar eclipse can stimulate a really strong desire to take action. So when we think of the sign of Taurus, this is matters related to personal finance, values, it's physical and material resources, it's personal possessions, it's our feelings of worthiness, it's safety, it's security, stability. Taurus is stubborn, so it can be a resistance to change. This is comfort, sensuality. And yeah, so this is like a new beginning, and this is like long-term changes are in the work. So this is gonna be like a long-term thing, and it's really going to set the way for a new way of being. And I think it will be really interesting to see what happens because the North Node is in Taurus and the South Node is in Scorpio. So we're really like leaving old ways of being behind, and we're kind of starting anew. So it will be really interesting to see how that transpires. And this is a really good time to concentrate on our feelings of self-worth. So building up that self-worth, the North Node wants us to embody this energy. So really lean into all that you are and find ways to acknowledge your worth, and remember that you are worthy by simply existing, by simply breathing the air around you. As soon as you were born, you were worthy. So coming back to that energy. And the solar eclipse is occurring when Venus is conjunct Jupiter in Pisces. And so since Venus is the ruler of this eclipse, it's particularly significant. So this eclipse also aligns with Uranus and it harmonizes with Mars, and we can get off to a great start mentally as we embark on new beginnings. So this is really a new, fresh start. And what I love about eclipses is if we've been feeling stuck and stagnant in energy, this kind of gives us that push forward. So even if we are unwilling to change, eclipses kind of force the change, but it's often for the better. So again, look to see where Taurus and Scorpio fall in your chart. Where Taurus is falling in your chart is where you're going to significantly feel this energy. And remember that those with fixed signs, so again, that's Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Leo, you're going to feel this the most. And yeah, I mean, if that's not enough for April, I don't know what is. Like, what a wild, wild month of transit. So beginning of the month might feel a little rocky. I'm hoping that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction is hitting a sweet spot, even if there is some negative energy with it. I'm going to focus on the positive. That's my Pisces rising. I just can't help it. And yeah, let me know your rising sign in the comment section below. Let me know if you've already started to feel some of this energy. And I'm really excited to see how this month plays out. And again, I always like to add, this is my personal opinion on the transits. I am also still pretty new to collective transits, so if something doesn't sound right, I'm still learning, so please be kind. And yeah, hope everyone has a really good month in April. Remember to dream big, remember to lean into all that you're worth, and take care of you. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful month.